Hi, my name's Phil. I like talking about politics, and in this video I'm going to be taking a look at an interview with a senior Reform UK Councillor in Nottinghamshire. The guy is in charge of economic development. He's not just a councillor, he's been put in charge of a department for the county's economic policies and spending. And when asked what would be basic questions for anyone in the role, didn't have a clue. I warn you, I'm about to show you something that registers 11 on the cringe scale. But first, for daily news and politics, please subscribe to the channel to stay notified. So, Notts TV put up a clip of an interview with a Reform UK cabinet member of the county council. Now, this was 2 weeks ago, to be clear, but I've only just come across it. But as someone who frequently comments on not just politics, but the political arts, I couldn't not discuss this. Everything about it is wrong. Now, being fair, you don't generally expect as high a quality of political artistry from local government as national government, but my goodness, I have never seen such uselessness. And I genuinely don't know if his laughing about it was from embarrassment, which I hope it was, or because he just doesn't care that he's completely out of his depth. Frankly, the saving grace for the councillor in question, James Walker-Gurley, is that the interview only got a little over like 1,000 views on YouTube, being that it was just a local news channel. Although I'm sure it was shared about a few community groups. But imagine collecting stuff like this. And let's say, I don't know, next spring, being able to cobble together a whole series of things like this from Reform councillors. Because voters nationally need to know just how little Reform UK care about putting competent people in charge. So I'm hoping to get this to a slightly larger audience. Part of me wanted to show you the full 2 minutes in one go, by the way, and then discuss it. But I've taken pity on you. It's actually too much cringe to watch all in one go. So we're going to need to break it down. So let's crack on.
Issues such as transport, skills and economic development to bring investment into the county.
So, good start. Nice, confident statement about wanting to work with EMCA. This is the East Midlands Combined County Authority. It's a group that works on projects for transport, housing, net zero, basically anything which is needed to provide and attract investment into the region. So obviously the cabinet member for economic development is going to work closely with them, a bit like the Home Secretary works closely with the police or the Chancellor works closely with the Treasury.
So how do you, at this standpoint, as also with the new authority, how do you see the relationship with EMCA moving forward? Take a minute if you need.
Sorry. I don't know what to say to that. Yeah, working closely with them.
Are you aware of if it's currently a good relationship? How is it going to go moving forward?
I have no idea, genuinely. So I have no idea. I've not met with anyone from EMCA yet, genuinely. So I have no idea.
Okay.
So stumped by the first question, and it was an easy question. Like, he's just said he wanted to work with EMCA, which is great. So what does working with them look like? That's what he was asked. You know, all he was asked was, can you elaborate on the statement you just volunteered? Hadn't got a Scooby-Doo. Like, after he'd thought about it, he then came up with a generic statement that, oh, we'll work closely with them, which would have been nonsense. You know, it's like, but that's what real politicians do all the time when they don't have a real answer. Although I will say in this particular case, I'm not picking on the interview technique. He should have had an answer. This wasn't a trick question. But the fact that he came out with his generic non-answer after he'd had to think about it for a bit, after embarrassing himself, just shows how poorly prepared he was. This wasn't an off-the-cuff question. This was a sit-down interview. It was arranged. So he organised it knowing they were going to talk about his role, and he had nothing to say about it. Oh, and it got worse.
Okay.
Right.
So what are the priorities for Nottinghamshire?
So we're going to be ensuring that our current major highway schemes are funded and delivered in order to provide effective travel along our major road corridors. We've got a major road network scheme which will see a number of junctions along the route being upgraded with the aim of reducing congestion at key intersections and that is the A614 A6097 Major Road Network Scheme. We'll be providing more traffic capacity for the future. It will support economic growth and housing delivery in the local area and enhance the strategic road network and support other road users by improving facilities for pedestrians and cyclists.
So basically now he decided that reading off a script that, something someone else had written for him was the best way to proceed. And as if it weren't obvious that this is what he was doing, they even adjusted the camera to show the script in front of him. And even then, it just sounded like he was reading someone else's proclamation out, which is exactly what he was doing. Oh, and the schemes he said they had, they in this case, it's not Reform, but the council. So these were schemes obviously developed previously. Nothing in the statement about what Reform were going to do differently to the previous, because that's the whole idea. Get rid of the old people, get Reform UK in so they can make things better. Where was his, this is what we're going to do differently? Other than put a half-wit in charge, of course. And if you still want to defend the guy, listen to this. So he's just read out a list of transport projects, right? Okay, if the projects are good, you don't expect him to axe them just because he's the new guy. We don't mean a new person comes in and gets rid of everything, right? If something's good, you keep it. But they're his projects now. Doesn't matter who developed them, he's in charge. So he's checked through them. He's become familiar with the relative benefits and costs of each, right? Yeah?
Okay, so from your standpoint, what would you say one of the top ones of those is for residents?
Ollerton Roundabout, for sure.
And sure enough, he's asked which is his top priority. He has a quick glance at his idiot sheet, I'll come to that in a moment, and then he responds, Ollerton Roundabout, quick as a flash. Oh, there you are, Phil. He was asked a question and he answered it on the fly. Knows what he's talking about. He must have been doing his job because he can immediately say which project is top priority. What you got to say that to them, Phil? Shall we see the follow-up question?
Okay, so from your standpoint, what would you say one of the top ones of those is for residents?
Ollerton Roundabout, for sure.
How so?
I don't know. It just needs fixing.
What happened here was, so he was asked, right? At this point, he knows he's embarrassing himself, right? So he's having to think a bit quick. He's asked, okay, so these projects you've just read out from a script, which one's top priority? So you could see as he was being asked the question, his eyes glanced to his scripts, right? So what's his top priority, right? So he answers, right? I can sound confident he answers. Then he's going, why? Looks at his idiot sheet again, laughing. It betrays him. The answer's not there. So he goes back to floundering. It's not because he's new to the job. Last year, Labour ministers were all new to theirs. They were interviewed. Some didn't even have the shadow brief beforehand, but they could still all do interviews about their role. They were interviewed about their role. They could all talk about it. None of them behaved like this. This goes beyond Reform UK getting inexperienced people into these important roles. That's a big deal. That is a big problem when you suddenly replace people who know what they're doing with people who don't. But Reform UK are specifically attracting people. This is part of their appeal. They're specifically attracting people who genuinely believe that government is easy. That when other people talk about complex problems, they're just making excuses. That it's actually easy. Common sense here, common sense there, common sense everywhere. That's how to do things. And we're seeing this sort of thing in every council Reform UK have taken over. They are floundering. They're finding out that actually it's not that easy. And it's not just because they don't know what they're doing. It's because they thought it would be easy. That government sort of runs itself and you just need politicians to make a few quick decisions, then off to the pub to wind down. Reform UK are like a party of people who want to rage against the machine without realising they are the machine. The most uninformed political party that has ever taken power in this country. This guy, this absolute joke of a charlatan, because that's what he is. He's a charlatan. Because he knew he was going to be interviewed about this. And he couldn't even answer basic questions for which he should need no preparation. So he doesn't care about his job and he didn't care about the interview. And this isn't even unusual. This is what's happening in every council Reform took over. They just don't care. They just want to see their own country torn down because they think it's turned into something they don't like. But let me know what you think in the comments below. For more content, you could subscribe to the channel or even join for access to streams and behind the scenes updates. Thanks for watching. Until next time, I'll see you later.